Welcome to Biz Alchemy, a podcast about creating a new business paradigm by women, for women. I'm your alchemical host, Jacquelyn, and I'm going to take you on an extraordinary adventure to create a business filled with ease, fun, spaciousness, and abundance. Hustle, be gone. Let's birth a new way. Hello, and welcome back to my podcast. As you can probably hear, I'm back with my proper mic, which means I'm back in Australia. So I've been back 3 weeks, and it's taken me a little while to get grounded enough and ready to record another episode for you. But as I said to myself today, Jacquelyn, when you hide, who is denied? And I went, great podcast topic. That's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, before I get into it, I do just want to say I had mentioned in my last episode, which was some time ago now, that there was still some availability for my Australian Biz Priestess retreat in northern New South Wales in November. However, that is now sold out. So unfortunately, if you didn't get in quick enough, you've missed out on that. I have many retreats coming up next year, and I'm thinking about offering another one in March at this same location. It is so special. So if you're interested in that, you can send me an email at jacquelynatkins.com. And make sure you're on my mail list as well, because in my newsletter now I am doing a little retreat section to keep you up to date, because well, in fact, 2 of them next year already, they could potentially sell out because there are more people on the wait list than there are spots in the retreat. So it's a good idea to find out about them straight away if you're interested in my retreat or in one of my Roseline mystery schools. So now I have the practicalities out of the way. Let's talk about this. When you hide, who is denied? I think this is a fabulous way to turn around the whole, I'm not confident enough to put myself out there. I'm not willing to share that part of myself. I feel too vulnerable in that. I'm not ready to reveal, this new part of who I am, or this new tool, or this new remembering I've had about my gifts, and you hide it. Now, I see this so often, and I feel it, I know it, I get it. But you turn that around and look at it this way. When I am hiding, when I have on my invisibility cloak, when I am only showing up as part of my truth, who am I denying? There are people there waiting for that part of you, waiting to hear what you offer, waiting to hear who you are, and they will have a resonance with that. They may not have a resonance with someone else offering the same or something similar. It's never going to be the same if it's not you. They may not have a resonance with them. They have a resonance with your vibration. But you're hiding it from them. You're not sharing it. They're not able to, they may not even know you exist, because you are refusing to own it and share it and be it. And yes, we all are certainly experiencing or have experienced those solar plexus stories and beliefs that we might hold around I'm not good enough, or just the fear that might come up around exposing yourself, because many of us do have past lives connected to that, and we have been perhaps cursed or at worst killed or ostracized in some way, and we have memories of that. We might be still holding memories of that in all our energy body, but our solar plexus can hold that very strongly. So of course that is there, and it's important to do whatever tools you use to shift those energies, to shift those memories, to transmute them, probably rather than shift, to transmute them. However, one of the most powerful ways to transmute them is to make this shift in your perspective and acknowledge, instead of being in and focused in on yourself with that, actually acknowledge who is waiting for you and allow that desire to serve others and know that you have a soul agreement with those others. And actually, in the acknowledging of that and in the shifting of your perspective around that, that can significantly help in transmuting those fears and those beliefs that maybe you have sort of wallowed in a bit, because we can do that. Our fear can make us wallow. But chances are there is someone out there, and probably more than one, who is waiting for a little piece that you have for them so that they might be able to make a choice, step out on a different path, like completely transform their life. It may be just a little piece, but they're waiting for you to bring them that little piece. So why would you deny them that opportunity? But every time you throw on your invisibility cloak, you could be doing that. Now, let me share my little story around this. As you may know from my podcast episodes that I shared while I was in Europe, and certainly if you're on my mail list, I've undergone a little transformation since I've been away. In fact, gosh, didn't I realize that once I landed back in Australia? I really did feel a bit like I was a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. It's amazing how much you change when you travel, and you don't realize it till you come back to a place, that the place you left from, and realize your entire energy has changed. And trying to fit back into a life that was once routine can be very challenging. Certainly this is always my experience. So there is some challenging things for me at the moment with being back in Australia, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is that while I was away, and through especially the mystery school in France, in Provence, in May, and my remembering about the Rose Line, and that I, 20 years ago, had been writing a book about this lineage of women, or that I thought they were women then. I've since realized there's women and men. But this lineage, and I was channeling their story, and that realization that I'm not done with that yet, there's more for me to do. And that's sort of what I was exploring while I was traveling in Europe. And I've come back to Australia and like, okay, how does this look? And it's been challenging because there have been parts of me just said, no, just put that aside, or just leave that for when you're in Europe next year, and just go back into the business energy and, show up on Insight Timer, talk about that. Let's just do that, shall we? So, that voice has been there a little bit, and I have even had the voice, and I know this is not mine, and I believe this possibly comes from some sort of maybe curse that has been, that I have received, shall we say. I won't say it's been put on me, that I have received in another lifetime. That's saying to me, you're just making that stuff up. You're making that stuff up, and you're taking all these people along with you on that journey. Now, when that's only happened a couple of times, but when it comes in, it's weird because it doesn't really sound like my voice. But it also, it really disarms me, because I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? Oh my gosh. And I sort of go into a momentary panic before I realize, hang on, no, that's not my voice. I'm not stupid. If this feels so strong for me, I know it's something I'm meant to be doing. So I have had that. And it can be when you hear those voices and you believe them to be yours, that's when you can hide. And it would be very easy. No, it wouldn't actually. No, I was going to say it'd be very easy for me right now to just forget that all happened, but I just can't, because it's been so strong and it's so powerful in me, and it feels so expansive that actually it wouldn't be that easy. It would be quite challenging to walk away from it. But I'm also still hesitating about putting it out there. And it's really interesting because I have done something that I did not see coming, which is I decided to go back onto social media. So I have gone onto Instagram, which I didn't really ever show up there much before, but this is just for my Lineage of the Rose work. And that's my handle, at Lineage of the Rose. And it's because I realized that my message about the rose line, and not just the lineage, but what the rose line means to us now in our lives practically. And it's about the harmony between the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine within us, because that's what enables us to fully step into our power and share who we are and what we're here to do. So that's the practical aspect. That's what it is. And that's what elevates your consciousness and moves you into this new earth that I talk about with the business energy. So there is sort of a more practical side, if you can call that practical, but it's not just about the lineage as such. Anyway, where was I going with that? I'm completely off track. So, Jacquelyn, next time write notes for yourself before you start a podcast. So yes, I went onto Instagram. I've gone back onto Instagram. And it's really interesting being on there because when I was doing this work, shall we say, tapping into this 20 years ago, well, obviously there was no social media. So you didn't really know anyone else who was doing it unless you happened to meet them at, maybe a Mind, Body, Spirit festival or, somehow ended up on their website, but it was rare. And so you would just like get on with your own stuff in a way. And even if you didn't know if anyone else knew about it or was doing anything about it. But of course now, through social media, you know everyone that's doing something about it. So it's been really interesting for me because I've gone onto Instagram and, of course, have stumbled upon many people who are talking about the lineage of the rose line, priestess mystery schools to do with the rose line. There's just so many. And I mean, I'm not even spending that much time on there because I'm finding it actually a little bit overwhelming because I'm not used to social media. So I'm only ever on there a few minutes at a time. But it's really interesting to observe that and to think, well, what is my place in this now? Why has it come back to me after all this time? I mean, there's plenty out there covering it. There's plenty of others. There's plenty of options there if anyone's interested in the rose line. So I'm going through that, which I talk about so often with you. It's not comparisonitis because I'm not comparing myself, but I'm just seeing that there is plenty of channels out there for people who are interested. But then I have to come back to myself and I have to come back to what I talk about with you. But I have a certain energy and I have a certain viewpoint around this and a wisdom that I have acquired through my lifetimes that I am bringing here now into this body to share with those who are resonant with my energy at this time. And that's not to say that they're not going to be resonant with some of these other amazing, amazing women out there and what they're sharing, women and men. I have certainly come across some men as well speaking to the rose line. But maybe I have one piece. Maybe I have a lot of pieces because I'm bringing in my perspective. I'm bringing through the voices of the rose line through my lens, through my filters, and through my experience and my wisdom. So I may say one thing that really can shift someone's understanding of how this rose line energy impacts them, what it helps them remember perhaps about a past life, about some incredible gifts that they embody. So in many ways, I'm obligated to share this. This is what I'm here to do. I'm obligated to share what I'm remembering and my perspective on it. Because when I do that, there is some almost like a code that will be activated in people who hear it. There'll be a code activated in the earth who is wanting this vibrational frequency from me. There are so many unknowns out there. I have no idea the impact it will have when I show up and talk about the rose line. Just like I had no idea, or I still don't have any idea of the impact it has when I talk about creating an intuitively led business. I can maybe see what's visible, but there is 99.9% that's invisible. And that's the impact I do not know about. But if I don't show up and do it and follow this guidance that's saying it's time for you to do this now, if I don't do that, well, I'm not just denying the obvious 0.1%, I'm denying that unseen 99.9%. And I don't just mean unseen in terms of people, I mean in terms of the entire vibrational frequency of the planet. Because you are here to support Earth in her movement into the higher frequencies. And you do that by being you, by sharing all of you, by shining your light. You don't do that by hiding. So perhaps the title of this episode is really, when you hide, who or what is denied? Because yes, your impact moves way beyond this earth. You are a magical being. So go and create that magic. Shout who you are from the rooftops. No more hiding. No more denying. Thanks for listening to Biz Alchemy. I'm Jacquelyn Atkins. If you'd love to know more about the energy of business, subscribe to my newsletter at jacquelynatkins.com/newsletter and join me on Insight Timer, where I have a large meditation library and do regular live classes. Until next time, enjoy creating alchemy in your biz.